Welcome back, everybody. Fighters Fury here on 790 The Ticket. Tobin here with you. A couple ones that just got you juiced up this week for sure. I don't know where I want to start. I'll start off with what happened to me on Friday morning. So we were talking about this last week as far as Shannon the Cannon Briggs versus Mike Tyson and bare knuckle. That there was a big time offer from BKFC to Mike Tyson. One that was caught like wildfire because there were fake Twitter rumors out there, trolls and whatnot. Made it seem like the BKFC president was announcing it, even though it wasn't his account. It was a fake tweet, all that type of stuff. So, that one all seemed like there was the water poured on that, and that was that. But, Shannon was relentless on social media as far as the interest is concerned. And I made my case for it last week. If you're going to have Mike Tyson come back, I just think you do it. I don't think you do these exhibitions against small timers that nobody knows. I think if you're Mike Tyson, you're going to come back against somebody within your age range, somebody that people know, somebody who could do a great job of hyping that up. I just think that Shannon checks all the categories there. A lot of people are obviously going to say, "Oh, let's do Holyfield again," and Holyfield was making his case this week. And look, the Holyfield thing, if you're going to do an exhibition, certainly it's got all the history behind it. The ear biting and all that type of stuff. But, I just think that there's so much history there that I just think that you're taking away what those fights are. You're going to be harping on what those fights were back in the day anyway. Same thing with Lennox Lewis. If Lennox Lewis, who was talking about, I might as well throw my hat in the ring. Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, too little too late with that fight. It didn't live up to what we all hoped it was, even though it was a monster pay-per-view success. I just feel like if Mike Tyson is going to come back and he's going to do a fight that is going to be a little, way past his prime, you take on another guy who is past his prime, but is great at promotion, who could play the foil, who people won't mind seeing Tyson beat if he is able to beat. And if he loses, I don't think it's that great because it's not like Shannon's definitely been in the ring more recently than Mike Tyson. Just makes a lot of sense. Both of those guys are from the same place. If you want to talk about a great place to raise money for charity, it certainly could be done in Brownsville, Brooklyn, or for Brownsville, Brooklyn, if they're not allowed to do it. Obviously, Vegas, where Tyson lives, Florida, where Shannon lives, both places that are willing to do fights right now. So, from my standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world. It really does. So I got a little IG Live request from Shannon. I just saw that he was up. I was getting ready to walk over to my home studio, and I saw that he was on Instagram Live. This was at like 5:45 in the morning, maybe a little bit earlier. I got to tell you, those not having the 3 a.m. workouts, pretty sweet right now. But neither here nor there. He was saying, he was up early, and I was just, I just throw him a little comment in the Instagram Live, and he goes, Tobin, you want to chat right now? I said, boom. I give him a little let's go chant. We do it. And he tells me, done deal. He says that him and Tyson have been talking and that they have agreed upon a fight. I asked him, is this a bare knuckle thing or is this a boxing match? He says boxing match. So this is going to be a boxing exhibition, around 5 rounds, something like that. And it is, look, I hope that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. I hope that it does happen because I think that would be absolutely fun and fantastic. If you're going to do it, that's the right way to do it. It's not hearkening back to a fight that was and that's going to be older. We see that from time to time with these fights like Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones, the rematch that happened way too late, all that type of stuff. Don't put yourself in that type of position. Make the fight happen within a right age range, and you're putting yourself in a good spot, I think. I think it'll be fun. People get to see Tyson do his thing. And two guys who are great talkers, will be very media savvy as it comes to the lead up to it. I think it'll be fun if they do it that way. If that's the way they decide to go, do it that way. This is what you've been waiting for the whole time. But yeah, don't be one of these ones where it's like, way too late. Just it won't go off right. Trust me. As far as the other big match that really got you going this week, so Jon Jones, fresh off the week where we got Francis Ngannou with another scary knockout, putting away Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Jon Jones is throwing his hat in the ring to get the deal to fight Ngannou. And this is an interesting one for sure, because we have a situation where the heavyweight division is up for grabs a little bit. We don't know what the deal with Stipe is, when he's coming back, when the pandemic is set. He's got injury concerns. DC is getting up there. This is going to be his last fight. They can end with the trilogy, sure. With Francis, he's obviously put himself in a position to win a title, no doubt about that. He's definitely put himself in a position to be the guy. But he's a little bit without a dance partner, because both the guys that he's deserving of fighting are supposed to fight each other. So what does he do? Does he sit back and wait? He's a young man. He wants to go out and fight. So Jon this week was talking about, well, who do fans think is a more technical striker anyway? Do they think it's Thiago Santos, or do they think it's Francis Ngannou? And if you guys don't think I'll take that fight, you're crazy. Just send the deal. I think that this would be fantastic. What a way it would be for Jon to welcome himself to the division. It's a fight I think he can win, quite frankly. We've seen Francis lose to the more technical guy already in Stipe Miocic. Stipe, took some big bombs in that fight, but eventually wore down Francis, took him to the ground. I think Jon's going to handle that just fine. I really, really do. But, man, if you want to talk about – I really think if you're talking about for Jon, I think it's arguably, other than his DC rematch, the only other super fight he's really had of his career. This is a guy who is looked at as the best guy to ever step inside an octagon. He's obviously has a very tumultuous career because of all the controversy that surrounds him, and the DUIs, the steroid use, the suspensions, the hit and runs, all that type of stuff. All of that is true. But he's also only lost via a disqualification. Other than that, what is the most highly publicized Jon Jones fights of his career that aren't Cormier, And you probably would almost have to go back to when he first became champion and won it from Lyoto and took on Rashad. But it's been a while. It's been a while since he's really had. You think about the Thiago Santos, the Anthony Smiths, the Dominic Reyes. He is in a spot right now, probably similar to maybe Gustafsson. His rematch against Gustafsson, people are obviously into. There was a ton of controversy because of the picograms and the pulsing and all that stuff. It was the first one was an absolute classic, but he's definitely been lacking in getting up for certain opponents. We saw this against OSP, where it felt like he wasn't exactly gung ho and put forth his best foot. Same thing with Anthony Smith, good performance. Thiago Santos, very very closely contested, split decision. Dominic Reyes, even more so. Even more controversial, some will say. So he's getting into this point where he definitely doesn't look as unbeatable. He definitely looks as a guy that if you put a good pace on him, you definitely could take rounds from. If you get over the aura that is Jon Jones, is that starting to get stripped from with these light heavyweights. And the other thing with it is, he is a prize fighter, and for a guy of his resume, not enough people care about watching him fight. I'm not saying nobody cares about watching him fight, but for his accolades, he should be a lot more popular. And so you take what he has as far as credentials are concerned, and you put it up against a freak show like Ngannou. That's a super fight. That's one that people will be jonesing for. Yes, no pun intended. That's one that people will go crazy for. Yes, I think any heavyweight fight will do that. If he fights Cormier for another time, or if he goes and fights Stipe, I think that'll be an absolute monster. But Francis is the cartoon. It'd be like if you had Jon Jones against Francis Ngannou, it's like two superhero action figures fighting each other. It's a different level of skill set, cartoonish, the ultimate ticking time bomb taking on a guy in Jon Jones, who is, basically perfect everywhere. Definitely doesn't have the devastating knockouts, but has the devastating kicks, the crazy ground and pound, all that type of stuff. And the thing that's interesting is, we've always wondered with Jon about taking on the one-shot guy. The guy, the fight that's always eluded everybody at 205 has always been Rumble Johnson. That's the one that everybody wanted to see. Just to see how Jon would react if he took that big bomb, how would it be? Now, he took some shots against Thiago Santos. He took some shots against Gustafsson. He's taken some shots against Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes. Like, it's not like Jon doesn't shown to be tough, durable, have a great chin. That's not what I'm saying. But people want to know what it's like if you put the ultimate tactician up against the ultimate time bomb. And that's what they want to see when it comes down to Francis versus Jon Jones. So it would be a super fight. I think it would be one of the biggest fights of the year. I think really the question is, if you're Ngannou, do you want to do that fight right now? If you're Ngannou, you fight Jon Jones. I would imagine if they do it, it would be for an interim title. I don't think they would do it without giving Jon the opportunity to win some gold, without Ngannou winning a title that he obviously deserves. So let's say that they could make this fight in July and we don't get Stipe and DC until the end of whatever. And if DC wins and Jon wins, then boom, you do have one more fight. And obviously a lot of money. It'd be tough for DC to turn it down. If Jon loses, DC retires, and eventually Ngannou's the champ. So, yeah, I think they got to do it, honestly, because look, first and foremost, if Ngannou wants to fight for the real belt, fight for the real belt. But I think out of the Stipe fight where we saw him get whooped up a little bit, I don't think that sells as well. DC, I think would be good, but I don't think it's good. I don't think it would be as big as fighting Jon Jones, because you're fight. The comparison between fighting Jon Jones or the guy who Jon Jones always beat, it's just not as big a deal, even if he is making the jump up to heavyweight. So I think it's an absolute monster. I hope they make it happen. I hope that we get that fight. In the great words of Detective Pikachu, I could feel that one down in my jellies. That one speaks to my soul. So I loved hearing that Jon is about. And look, for Jon, what else are you doing at this point? You're at this point where you're out of challenges. Who's really left? Are we going to do Corey Anderson, Jan Blachowicz? Is that really? And it's not to disrespect those guys, but you're Jon Jones. You got more title wins than anybody in the history of the sport. And people have been waiting for this one challenge all the time. You're going to get it's almost. Remember when we were talking about the Brock Lesnar fight and Jon called out Brock Lesnar before he got his title stripped from DC? This would be equivalent to that. Obviously, Ngannou's not as famous as Brock Lesnar, but it's what we've been wanting to see. Jon to take on a cartoon character at heavyweight, go dominate, add to his legacy, be a 2-title champion, all that type of stuff. And he's talented enough to do it. He is. He's got those chicken legs. Maybe he's looked a little bit vulnerable, but maybe he's also just a little bit tapped out on motivation when it comes to 205, because he's done everything there is to do twice over. He really has. And now he's escaping. And now, because to me, look, he's really at a point right now where if he takes on if he starts taking on the Dominic Reyes of the world, what else is there to do? I guess you could go dominant. Okay, good. Jon dominated him, took him maybe a little more seriously. What does that add? He added a blip on his radar. Does anybody care? Or he fights Dom again and he loses, and that's not going to be as great to his purse strings as it would be to fight Ngannou, who's also a risk. And at least that one is like, whoa, everyone's going to be paying $70 or whatever it is for that on pay-per-view.